Welcome into Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and we have breaking news here on the NFL trade deadline day. Your Seattle Seahawks made a move, and they traded for Saints wide receiver Rasheed Shaheed. The need for speed, Rasheed Shaheed cannot freaking wait. We're going to be breaking down all the ins and outs of the trade today. We're going to be going through who got the video out first, who was letting everybody know what the trade details are exactly. But man, oh man, it just feels good to say that the Seahawks made a trade. And honestly, despite myself earlier this morning saying that I did not want a wide receiver, I wanted someone in the trenches, I've convinced myself that this is a great trade. It came first from Tom Pelissero as well as Ian Rappaport. And it was that the Saints were sending wide receiver Rasheed Shaheed to the Seattle Seahawks. I think this is a fantastic trade for the team because you get a player that already understands Klint Kubiak's system, as well as someone who can take the top off the defense. Now you have two big play threats in Torrey Horton and Rasheed Shaheed. Now, the question was always going to be, how much did your Seattle Seahawks end up having to get up for Shaheed? He was basically being told that he was worth a third-round pick. That is what the Saints wanted. They wanted, that end of day 2 pick. Seahawks, they said, hey, how about we throw in a 4th round and a 5th round pick as well? That ended up sweetening up the deal, and because, Rasheed Shaheed's contract situation, it made sense for the Saints to move on from him. But this is why you subscribe to the channel. This is why you sub. The minute that the news broke, I had a short out instantly. I was over on Twitter firing out my takes of what was happening, and then we went live. We're going to break down the trade from start to finish. But man, oh man, this is why you subscribe to Seahawks Today, because we're going to have the late breaking news surrounding your Seattle Seahawks. Cannot wait to get Rasheed Shaheed in the building. If you want a shout out, go down below right now in the comment section and type RS. I saw people already talking about trade options, and I want to make sure that everybody gets their proper dues and their proper shout outs. Pablo Domingo, how you doing? Good to see you. Josh Cummings, what's up? Nate Cash, what up? Dominic Martinez, Aspect Gaming. 300 people in the building. Hustle Hilson in the house. What up, man? I'm stoked that you're here, dude. I appreciate it. Josh, I don't think that cup is gone, but I do think that they're making a plan for the future. Julian, don't disagree with you, man. Derek Young, this could be because of his injury and how long he's going to be out. Paulie, what up? Good to see you. Michael 808, how you doing? Mad Max coming. John Sal, I hope so, man. I hope so. We've got, 2 hours left to go in this trade deadline. I'm praying. I'm thinking. I'm plotting. I don't think this is the only move that the Seahawks are going to make today. I think you're going to see a couple of trades go down. I could be wrong. I didn't think that the Seahawks would go for a wide receiver, but I'll tell you what, as we go through today's video and I break everything down, I think you're going to come to agree with me that this is actually a really, really good trade for your Seattle Seahawks. 322 of you hanging out with us, only 46 likes. Make sure you go get those like numbers up for us. We really appreciate it. Helps bring in more Seattle Seahawk fans into the building. Smoke burp, spoiler alert, Rasheed jet sweep. You think? You think, my good sir? We're going to be seeing a lot more gadget plays, I believe. And, I might be frustrated with some of the cuteness that Kubiak has had from time to time. I do think that this is going to be an easier way to get some of those gadget plays in just with the skill set that Shaheed has and his knowledge of the system. I honestly think he could hit the ground running, get things going early for you. I agree with Motorhead. They just signed Kupp. They're not going to cut him. And I think that he adds something that Shaheed, Torrey Horton, and, JSN's just the complete wide receiver. But Torrey and Rasheed Shaheed do not add that instant knowledge of, hey, we're going to just find a way to get open in short intermediate routes. The crisp route running, the smartness, the football IQ that Cooper Kupp still maintains here for your Seattle Seahawks is a reason why you would not move on from him. It's a reason why you'd keep him in the building. I don't think that you're going to move on from him. But I do wonder if the signing of Rasheed Shaheed will lead to less opportunities for a Cody White, a Derek Young, a Ricky White III, right? Could this lead to less opportunities for a Jake Bobo? I think there's plenty of options here. Now, the interesting thing that we'll have to see about Rasheed Shaheed is that his contract is done at the end of this year. His contract is done at the end of this year. So, Mike Macdonald said if he brings in someone like Shaheed, he wants a player that's going to be here for a long, long time. So, I'll be interested to see if he keeps him. If you want your questions featured on the show, send on in a super. Does not matter the dollar amount. If you send in a super, we'll get you up on today's show. I'm going to be answering as many questions as I can. So if you have a burning question that you need out, hey, what moves could the Seahawks make? Send it on in to us. Right now, I actually love that grade the trade. I loved that grade the trade weigh in. I do, producer Avery. I appreciate it. Can we get that up on the building? Because I want to know what the people have to say. Here is the Seahawks New Orleans trade for Rasheed Shaheed. Please let me know down in the comments. Grade the trade. Is this an A trade, a B trade, a C trade, D, or F trade for your Seattle Seahawks? Are you fired up? Early Bash is fired up. Excuse me. I'm seeing a lot of A's. Hunter says A. Jordan says A. John says A. Ooh, some C's. Ooh, Tech and Power Hub. Why C? Why C? Let me know. Why C? Let me know. Ooh, MG Toe Balance. This will increase Seahawks points per game at least 5 points. I think you're right, man. I think it's going to help you with some of the big plays that you haven't had yet. It's going to help with some more big plays. I'm cool with the trade. I am cool with it, and I'll get into it more. Josh, not necessarily. There's still plenty of time. Plenty of time in the trade deadline. Crazier things have happened before. Lots of trades still going down. If you do not have Ian Rappaport or Tom Pelissero or Adam Schefter locked up and ready to go, you're going to miss out on all the craziness that is happening. Oh, yes, that is true. Yes. Producer Avery absolutely killing it right now, doing her first live show like this. A very impressive performance from producer Avery. Here's your Seahawks record. Here's what's important to note. That second line right there on the screen, the salary cap space for your Seattle Seahawks. $20 million in salary cap space. That's 7th in the NFL. So there's still plenty of money to go around if the Seahawks want to make another big trade. Right? There's still plenty of time if the Seahawks want to make a move, want to see if they go and sign an offensive lineman. I see a lot of people saying, hey, it's a D trade because the Seahawks don't need a wide receiver. They need a guard, right? Or, hey, the Seahawks don't need a wide receiver. They need a defensive end, an edge rusher. There's still plenty of time. And there's plenty of cap space in there for you. So make sure that you don't miss out on that. B, only because the 2 draft picks and no contract. That's from AdRock. I think if the Seahawks are making this move, there's a good understanding that they will get Rasheed Shaheed to re-sign. I don't think that Seattle would move on from him if you did not see him coming back into Seattle. Mike Macdonald has made that very clear, that if he makes a move, he wants a player that's going to be here for the long haul. Rasheed Shaheed, he's a younger player still. He can sign in with the Seahawks, sign back, stay on contract. He's going to be relatively inexpensive. He's going to be a player that can help mold Torrey Horton. I think there's still plenty of room to grow for this crew. I really, really do. And I think that there's still plenty of room for this Seahawks team to make another big trade. I think there is plenty of space for the Seahawks to go and make another big trade. 360 of you guys hanging out with us. 86 likes. Let's get that thing to 100. I got a whole video planned for you guys that will be out on the channel. And then I just want to talk through some other potential trades that the Seahawks could be making. I don't want to miss out on any of it. Slat, honestly, I'm going to be disappointed if this is the only trade. Couldn't agree more, man. I'm not going to be really disappointed. I'll be what's the best? I know the way that I want to phrase it, but I'm not going to phrase it that way. I would be a little bit annoyed. I would be a little bit annoyed if that is the move that the Seahawks decided to make. I think that they are going to make more than just one move, and if it is just for Rasheed Shaheed, it would be a little frustrating to me. But I do think that you have plenty of space, plenty of cap room to move through that. So here is what we're going to do. We are going to go through our breaking news on the trade. As soon as we get to 115 likes, we're at 380 of you in the building, 105 likes. That's 10 likes away. We'll get into our video, and then I'll be asking more of your questions. Now, I can't see every question that gets fired off and comes in. So if you want to make sure that your question gets answered and you get in on the video, send on in a super chat, whatever the dollar amount is. We will make sure that we get you up on the screen. And bang! I asked for 110. You guys over-delivered. We're at 120 likes right now. I'm going to rip through this video. 130. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. We have the best fans in the building. We have the best fans at Chat Sports. I want to say that I love and I appreciate every single one of you guys for sending that over. So we're going to get into the breaking news of the day. I'm going to tell you if it's a good trade, why the Seahawks made the trade, and if there will be any more trades coming elsewhere during this video. So make sure that you're tuned in and then stick around after, because we're going to be talking through some potential other trades that the Seahawks might make. Welcome into Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and oh my goodness. Breaking news from the clouds. The Seattle Seahawks have acquired wide receiver Rasheed Shaheed from the New Orleans Saints. I didn't see this trade coming. Now, did I believe that Shaheed could be traded away from the New Orleans Saints? Of course, that was kind of the scuttlebutt. The Saints suck. And well, there are plenty of teams that need a wide receiver. The Seahawks don't necessarily need a wide receiver, but it does make sense why they would bring in Shaheed, and we're going to get into that and all the full details of the trade in just a moment. But I need to make sure that you know this is why you subscribe to the channel. We have breaking Seahawks news the minute that it comes out. We're firing off a video. You don't want to miss it. Within 5 minutes, I had a short out telling you all the details that we knew at that moment. And then, of course, we're going to do a full breakdown video that you're watching right now. So subscribe to the channel. Help us out here so that we can make sure that you are the most informed Seahawk fan as possible. Now, Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network, he broke the trade, and it was that the Saints were sending wide receiver Rasheed Shaheed to the Seahawks. And then after a couple minutes, the full details of the trade did come out. Seattle, they're going to get Rasheed Shaheed back in on this trade. And then the Seahawks traded away a fourth round and a fifth round pick in 2026. Now, I think this is a good initial trade for the Seahawks. Why? When you were hearing rumors around Shaheed, the scuttlebutt was that he was worth a third round pick. That is a day 2 pick. It's important to remember that because there are plenty of really good wide receivers that have been picked up in that third round. DK Metcalf is one that comes to my mind, right? So when you are looking at those end of the day 2 picks, there's still quality wide receivers out there. Rasheed Shaheed is a proven quality wide receiver in the NFL. So if the Seahawks were going to make a trade for him, they needed to bring him in for a fair dollar amount, a fair value. I think that a fourth and fifth is a perfect trade value for him. They're day 3 picks. Those are picks that, in my eyes, maybe they hit and turn into something really good, right? Torrey Horton. Or maybe they turn into nothing. Maybe they end up being a player that doesn't pan out. Well, you already know that Rasheed Shaheed is going to pan out, and he's going to fit into the system that you already have. So I think it is a good trade for the Seahawks. You get a quality player, and you get a player that you know for 100% fact is going to be good to go for you and is going to help you in the long term. The other thing that I think is important here is that he fits into the Klint Kubiak system. Rasheed Shaheed has already worked with Klint Kubiak. And so I'll dive into the different avenues that the Seahawks can use him in and how Klint Kubiak can help elongate his career, and now you have some big explosive play possibilities that you might not have had. But before I get into that, I do want to talk to you about today's proud sponsor, and that, of course, is Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on any 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if your picks are right, you could cash in. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones are overhyped? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. I have a little 3-pick power play here for this weekend. Bo Nix, his pass completion more. Ashton Genty, his receiving yards more. And Brock Bowers, his receptions more. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. So, I told you that I thought it would be a big deal that Klint Kubiak was adding Rasheed Shaheed to his offense. And when you look at this new wide receiver room in Seattle, this is why. You have 3 players in this crew that at any moment can go deep and get a huge, gigantic play for the Seahawks and get a big TD. Jaxon Smith-Njigba, we know at any moment he can be gone. He's the best receiver in the NFL right now. Torrey Horton has shown that he's an end zone magnet. 13 receptions so far in his rookie year. 5 touchdowns. How important is that? Rasheed Shaheed, well, all the dude does is make big plays and get big time catches. You can see it right here in his 2025 stats. He's at 500 yards, and obviously the Saints have been feeding him. They've been trying to get up his stats because they wanted to get more in trade value for him. Don't care. I'm totally okay with that because look at the long touchdown. Look at where he's at right now. 87 yards is his long on the year. How many wide receivers can catch the ball in the NFL and go 87 yards? Not many of them. Not many of them. And you're going to now get a Rasheed Shaheed that when he was in New Orleans, there was always safety help over the top. Why? Because he was the big play threat. Chris Olave was good, right? He's great. He makes plays underneath. He's able to get big-time catches, but he doesn't stretch the defense or demand the amount of eyeballs that Jaxon Smith-Njigba does. Jaxon Smith-Njigba has gotten Torrey Horton all 5 of his touchdowns because teams haven't been able to lock in, focus on Torrey Horton. Now you're telling me I get in a slightly faster version of Torrey Horton with a little more experience that can absolutely explode because he's going to be the 3rd or 4th guy that people are viewing? Oh, boy, does that excite me. I mean, just look at the career stats. The 2023 year is the one that I think is most important because that's where you saw Rasheed Shaheed have his best year, his biggest explosion, right? He had 719 yards. This year, he's on pace to well exceed that, and I think he will because of what Seattle is going to ask out of him. Seattle is going to use him as a big play threat. When Shaheed catches the ball or the ball gets thrown to him, big things are going to happen. Don't be shocked if at the end of the year, Rasheed Shaheed is right at that 1,000-yard mark. And it's going to be largely on big plays, big catches, big movements. Now, Klint Kubiak, all those cute plays that I was getting frustrated with, well, you can run some cute plays for this guy. You can run some jet sweep action. You can get the ball out to him quick on screens because if he makes one man miss, no one's going to run him down. You don't just have to use him on that vert ball. You don't just have to use him on a post route. And the biggest thing, and I can't reiterate this enough, is he's playing on the same team as Jaxon Smith-Njigba. Jaxon Smith-Njigba is the straw that stirs the drink. He is going to open up everything for Shaheed. He is going to allow Shaheed to get more one-on-one matchups that he can take advantage of. And if teams aren't going to press him or cover him in man and cover Shaheed in zone, it opens up stuff for everyone else underneath. If you go back through and you look at the last game the Seahawks played against the Commanders, every single touchdown was a one-on-one setup where the Commanders were double teaming JSN and then Torrey Horton just won, or Elijah Arroyo just won. Now you're telling me I get an even faster guy? He's just going to win. When you look at the Seahawks trade right now, it is not a trade that I started off this day expecting the Seahawks to make. If I had to go through it, I would not have been happy early on this morning if you told me, hey, Rasheed Shaheed is going to be a Seahawk. After looking at it and diving through all the ins and outs of this trade and what Shaheed can do for your Seattle Seahawks, if I had to go through and get my red pen out and grade this trade, I would tell you right now, I think this is a strong B trade for the Seahawks. You are strengthening a position behind a player that now gives you the take the top off the defense opportunities at a moment's notice. You are also adding a player that already knows the Klint Kubiak system. He is a player that you can plug in and play tomorrow against the Arizona Cardinals. There will be plays for Shaheed. Shaheed will be used on Sunday. I guarantee it. And he's only going to get used more and more and more. This is a position that, frankly, I don't necessarily think that you need a whole lot from because you're already getting so much. But it will open up things for JSN as well. Because if Shaheed beats a team deep, guess what? They're going to focus a little bit more on Shaheed and a little bit less on JSN, just opening things up for him more. He fits your offense. He fits your scheme. He fits your system. Well, it might not be a position that you were dying for, clamoring for. He does give you more depth, more special teams ability, and most importantly, he gives this offense one thing that they haven't quite had, and that's the big play pop explosion. I'd give this a B. You let me know down below in the comments what this trade gives you. This is why you subscribe, though. You do not want to miss breaking news action for your Seattle Seahawks. We're here instantly breaking down the news, breaking down the trade, letting you know what's most important about the move for the Seahawks. Because the Seahawks adding Rasheed Shaheed just made this team a whole lot more dangerous. And to be honest with you, I don't know if it'll be the very last move that the Seahawks make. I'm excited to get Rasheed Shaheed in Seattle. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show, and I will see you next time. Boom! What's up? I saw some super chats in the building. We'll get you up here in a moment. Thank you so much to everybody who liked the stream so far. Let's get those likes up to 200. We are 21 likes away, 439 of you hanging out with us in the building. Tristan says B. I kind of agree with you. Tech and Power Hub, after hearing your argument, I agree. Good. I'm glad you agree. I think it's an important trade. I think it's oh my goodness gracious. Sorry, I'm just going to update this and I'll get back into hanging out with the chat. Aspect Gaming, shout out to you. He got this information to me first. Quinnen Williams just got traded. That's crazy. Not to the Seahawks. Not to the Seahawks. He got traded to the Cowboys. I guess Jerry isn't so much of a prima donna as we might have thought. That's crazy. That's crazy. Don't worry. Not the Seahawks. We're okay. Not the Seahawks. Now, here is what's interesting. You still have a little under 2 hours left to go before the trade deadline hits. I think that the Seahawks still have another trade in them. After looking at more and more information around the Rasheed Shaheed trade, I do think it's a good trade for you. I think it's a smart trade for you. I think I'll be a little underwhelmed if it's the only trade, especially after all the conversation that we've had around the Seahawks making moves. Everyone's saying they're going to make a big move. I think this is just the beginning. I think you have one more move in there. I really hope that you do. The man himself. What's up? You're just adding to the amount of things I got to keep walking on the treadmill. Goodness gracious. The man himself. What's up? Good to see you. Thank you so much for sending in your super chat. Remember, if you want to be on the show, send in your super chat. Do you think we should use him in the return game mostly? Yes, I think that Rasheed Shaheed will now add into your special teams unit. Didn't get into it as much as I probably should have in the video. But now that you say that, it kind of triggered some memory going for me. I think this tells you that Dareke Young's going to be out for an extended period of time. And I almost view Rasheed Shaheed as not just, turning into that third wide receiver for this offense and that big play, explosive playability guy. But I also think you're going to see him a lot more on kick returns. I don't know if you see him on punt returns necessarily. Torrey Horton's done well in that role. And frankly, I want to keep seeing him used in that role. But now you can have George Halani as well as Rasheed Shaheed back there. That's an elusive, scary duo. That is a duo that can make some big waves, make some big plays for your Seahawks. And like I said in the video, dude, JSN is going to demand double teams. That leaves Shaheed open for one-on-ones. If I'm Sam Darnold and I see Shaheed in a one-on-one in a press man, deep ball, go. Change at the line, hot route. Boom, we're dotting you deep. We're dotting you deep. And as soon as teams move over to him, that leaves things open for JSN. It's going to be electric. Xander! Let's go, Hawks, baby! Couldn't agree more, Xander. Could not agree more. Let's go, Seahawks. Making big plays, making big waves. Not a move that I saw them doing. I said in the morning video, and hey, I'll admit, I might be an idiot sandwich. This might be one of those situations where, your parents say, hey, let's go get, insert fast food here. Oh, I don't want to go get that fast food. Well, either you eat the fast food or you go home for dinner hungry, and then you go and you eat the fast food, right? You eat that food that you might not necessarily want. Right now, Shaheed, he's a little bit of a step up than that metaphor, but I would say that it's a good trade. I want more, though. I want someone in the trenches. That is the most important to me. Offensive line or edge rusher. Give me one of those two. But I love that the Seahawks went in and got Shaheed. Just adds more to this offense. Are we trading Cooper Kupp, Luke? I do not believe so. But that doesn't mean that we won't. Shout out to Xander. Thank you so much. And Pablo Domingo. What's up, man? Real one. Seahawks Hall of Fame member as well. Good to see you. How you doing, man? Great Tuesday morning. Or Tuesday afternoon. It depends on where you're watching. It's afternoon here in Central Time. It's morning Pacific Time. Producer Avery's making fun of me. I just got to make sure that I correct my half wrongs. Will Ortner, the Seattle Seahawks get Bradley Chubb. This defense will be strong. This defense will be dangerous. Yes, I said it in the morning video, man. I want Bradley Chubb. I want Kayvon Thibodeau. I got in today. Obviously, producer Colin, big fan of the Seahawks. He and I were having our little trade geek out session. I'll be honest. There was obviously a mention of Max Crosby. I don't see how you get Max Crosby. I don't know that Max Crosby is even on the trade market. In fact, I bet you he's not, and he doesn't get moved on from. But if you can get that premier edge rusher to add into what you already have on this defensive line, watch the you-know-what out. This might be a special season. And when you add in that late-minute addition, watch the heck out and what they can do for your team. This is now the third year in a row. GM John Schneider has said, we're going to take Rasheed Shaheed. Last year, he said, we're going to take Ernest Jones. The year before that, he said Leonard Williams. You take the first two guys, and they've completely transformed that defense. Shaheed, I'm not saying him by himself would transform this offense, but he can add in so much more to this team. Hustle Hilson is right. We've been contenders, but you're kidding yourself if you don't look at this team and talk about them as a potential Super Bowl, not just contender, a potential Super Bowl winner. Ryan, good to see you. How's it going? Super Bowl bound? Literally no weaknesses beside right guard. Couldn't agree with you more, man. Could not agree with you more. Your only true blue out there in your face weakness is that right guard position. I do believe that Seattle will make a move there. I don't know why they continue to push the narrative that Anthony Bradford is solid, is good, is ready to go for you. I think that he's fine. then that's being nice. He is fine. He's fine. And by fine, I mean get him out of here. I want another guard, or I want someone in the trenches. I think a guard helps fix this offense is running attack. But I do think that Shaheed adds in a new element. What could be fun as well with Shaheed is how do you use him in the run game? Can you line him up in the backfield if you went into a shotgun and had two players on the opposite sides of Sam Darnold? We've seen the Seahawks do this with Jaxon Smith-Njigba to get better matchups. You could do the same thing with Rasheed Shaheed. You could use him in handoffs. You can use him in those little shovel pitches. There are so many different options that you have with him that all of a sudden this wide receiver unit just gets more and more fascinating. He might not be the best blocker, but that's okay. Here is your new Seahawks updated wide receiver depth chart. Obviously, Jaxon Smith-Njigba is wide receiver number 1. I think that goes without saying. Cooper Kupp is still going to be listed as wide receiver 2. Now, what Cooper Kupp brings in for you, and a lot of people have been saying, well, now the Seahawks trade Cooper Kupp. I don't think that you do. He gives you a lot of veteran talent and presence in helping some of the young guys understand what can make a defense tick, what can help put the Seahawks in the right position to be open, to succeed. I think you hold on to him. But Rasheed Shaheed and Torrey Horton are now just gigantic matchup nightmares. Can you imagine having Rasheed Shaheed in the slot opposite of JSN? You can't double cover both. So the safety is going to have to run with one. If I'm a safety, I'll tell you right now, I'm not letting wide receiver 1 beat me. But do you have the speed then to keep up with Shaheed? Do you have the speed then to keep up with Shaheed? I don't know, man. You just got you have so many different matchups that you can create that are just going to be nightmares for other teams. They're just going to be nightmares for other teams. So here's kind of the breakdown of Shaheed and a little bit going into his player bio. He's a little bit bigger of a receiver than Torrey Horton. Obviously, Torrey Horton's a little bit smaller. Similar shiftiness. I would say that Shaheed is a faster top-end speed, and I don't think that that is that crazy a conversation. A lot of his big plays are big touchdowns, right? If he gets away, no one's going to run him down. You can just look at that long, 87 yards. That happens in college. 87-yard plays in the NFL, they don't happen. That's how big it is for the Seahawks. He's averaging 11 yards right now on his catches. His average is down than previous years, but the reason it's down is because the Saints were making sure to feed Shaheed. They clearly, in my eyes, have wanted to move on from him. They wanted to trade him. They knew that, hey, this wasn't going to be a good season. He doesn't fit into the long-term plans for your team. He is a player that was expendable. Now, the Seahawks have made it clear that they are not going to trade for a player that they are not going to keep. They are not going to trade a player away that they are not going to keep. So even though he's in the final year of his contract, I do think that the Seahawks are going to find a way to keep Shaheed here with you. Xander, good to see ya. We'll get you up here again in just one moment. Thank you, producer Avery. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Xander, thank you, sir. Thank you for hanging out. Remember, if you want your questions featured on today's show, you send in a super chat just like Xander did, and we'll get you on there. Love you. Appreciate you, Xander. Coach Kupp was helping the guys on the sidelines last game. I love to see that. And that is why I do not believe that the Seahawks will move on from Cooper Kupp. He is going to stay. There is a role for him, right? He is going to be here the entire time. I do not see you moving on. We don't need to throw that up there. There's nothing going on. This was a surprise. This was a happy surprise. But I do think that Cooper Kupp being with this team will pay dividends in the long run. And most importantly, he fills what I call the Bobby Ingram role. For those of you old enough to remember Bobby Ingram, early parts of Doug Baldwin was kind of like this as well, where you just got open. You didn't necessarily have gigantic plays at that wide receiver spot. You didn't necessarily see a wide receiver that was an absolute burner, making everyone miss. That's not what Cooper Kupp is anymore. What Cooper Kupp is now is a great player that just finds a way to get open, catch the football, and get first downs for your team. That's a role that traditionally a tight end has filled in the past. And I think that A.J. Barner can do that as well, but I don't think he can do it quite as well as Cooper Kupp. I also think that the football IQ on Cooper Kupp is invaluable. You do not want to get rid of a person like that that can help push your team forward and keep pushing your team to the limits. So I think with all the young players, all the young wide receivers, it is important that you hold on to Cooper Kupp, and I do not see him going anywhere. JC, don't worry, I see you're super in. We'll get you up here in just a moment. We would not miss out on any of y'all. Melina, hey, good to see you. Good to see you. We should have to sign quick before we go in this. Yeah, you're going to want to sign him ASAP. He is on the final year of his deal, right? I believe it's actually a one-year deal, so first and last year of his deal. So if Rasheed Shaheed wants to stay in Seattle, you want him to stay in Seattle, you are going to have to re-sign him. JC, what up, man? Good to see you. Go Hawks. Can't wait for Sunday. Dude, I can't wait for Sunday either. I'll tell you what else. I can't wait for 2 Sundays from now. I cannot wait for 2 Sundays from now. I think you're going to make some big-time plays. And that Rams-Seahawks game is basically against the best 2 teams in the NFC. That's going to be freaking awesome. Let's throw me up full. Did we send Durham the times? Awesome. Just wanted to make sure. That makes it easy. So let's do this. Let's go through, throw me up full, and we will talk about why I think that the addition of JSN will be huge to this Klint Kubiak offense. Now, the big thing with Klint Kubiak's offense is he wants to do a lot of play action pass. So he wants to run the football, run the football, run the football, run the football. And if you can run the football at a good, efficient level, what is going to happen? Defenses are going to suck up forward. We used to talk about it all the time in our offensive line meetings at Central Washington University, where I was an offensive lineman, is if you can get the run game going, everything opens up easier for the pass, right? And what the Seahawks have been able to do this year is, despite the running game kind of being lackluster, I don't want to completely agree with Greg Olsen, because if you watch that Sunday game and your takeaway was the Seahawks can't run the football effectively, what the hell game were you watching, dude? The Seahawks are able to do all the things that they've been able to do offensively despite not being able to run the football. So Shaheed adds a couple of things here for you. With his big playability now, you are going to see defenses not load the box. I wonder if this move helps with some of the Anthony Bradford issues if you don't make a move for a right guard. There's still time to make a move. You have an hour and a half left until the trade deadline hits. If Seattle does not make a move, then the addition of Shaheed can force defenses to play back, giving you more options to run the football down low. Now Seahawks are running the football. Those defenses have to then bring more people into the box to shut down the run game. Now you have Shaheed one-on-one, and you can throw darts deep to him. Now you have Jaxon Smith-Njigba with more one-on-one or two-on-one because he continues to win those options to find, hit him in stride, big plays. So, yes, I do think that there are moves that are still potential there. We're going to throw up the NFL trade deadline little bio that we have for our team. But while we have that up, I'm going to go through this. After we do that, Big Rich had a great question. He said, what are the potential right guards besides Wyatt Teller? Avery, that is what that little 3-list graphic was that has the trade targets that we talked about at the pregame. So I'll go through those in just a moment. I want to stick on this NFL trade deadline. That's it. That's perfect. So right now, most important thing to focus on in this graphic, your Seattle Seahawks have the 7th most salary cap space in the NFL. What does that mean? It means that the Seahawks still have a lot of room to take on a contract that other teams might not necessarily want to take on if they're sellers, but it's also a a position that allows you to take on more contracts for a bigger name player. What'll be most important here to see is if the Seahawks do go make a move, will they go after someone that has a little bit higher of a salary cap? Now, Big Rich has mentioned that there are other trade targets for the Seahawks at guard other than Wyatt Teller. So here is a list that I made, ironically enough, all the way back in like October. So Wyatt Teller and Joel Bitonio have been on the market for quite some time because, well, the Browns suck. I don't know if you know this. They're really bad. At one point, I think they were talking about like Shedeur Sanders being the savior. I think there were comparisons to another savior. He got compared to religious figures. Let's just put it that way. This team is horrific. They're trying to figure out whatever they can to get people's butts into the seats. And Joel Bitonio and Wyatt Teller just don't make sense for the Browns. You got to blow it up. I think that you might fire Kevin Stefanski. You might fire everyone in the front office. And if you do that, it's a complete reset. Bitonio, to me, doesn't make sense for the Seahawks because of his age. He would be a one-year rental. Best case scenario, you'd be able to keep him for 3 because he's old. He's in his late 30s, man. As good as Bitonio is, and he's better. He is better than Wyatt Teller. That's not an attack on Teller. He just is. He is old. And so it takes, it's a move that I don't think the Seahawks want to make because Mike Macdonald made it clear. He wants to make moves that help the team short term, long term. Joel Bitonio for sure helps your team in the short term. Doesn't help you in the long term, in my eyes. Kevin Zeitler is the same way. Really good guard. Does a lot of things well. Great in pass pro, great run blocking. Where he struggles is, again, being old. Not trying to be mean, not trying to attack people who are older than me because, well, I've been told they don't like that. But, that's actually perfect. If you want to load that up, we can talk about that next. Thank you, Producer Avery. So Kevin Zeitler, he's older. He's another one-year rental. I obviously talked about Peter Skoronski in Tennessee. The Titans suck. That's why Zeitler's up for trade options. Skoronski might be the only other person other than Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons that aren't available, yet PFF still released something that said, hey, maybe Seattle can make a trade for him. It would be a dream scenario. You'd have to give up a lot of capital, but that is also an option as well. The reason why, Big Rich, you keep seeing Wyatt Teller is because he's the most true blue to the Seahawks. He fits everything that the Seahawks could want. He helps you now. He helps you long term. His biggest issue is that the Seahawks defense hates him. They hate him because of that cheap shot that he took on, well, not a cheap shot, but it's one of those like gray areas where you probably shouldn't do that type of hits that he had on Uchenna Nwosu, led to him getting a knee injury, and that's why there was some frustration there. And that's why, frankly, there's a lot of people like Greg Bell, who does a great job covering the Seahawks, and he says that he doesn't think that Seattle will make a move for Teller. Yes, Big Rich, it was in the preseason. Now, there might be some people that are saying, how bad is it really with Anthony Bradford? These are his PFF grades. And now I do want to make it very clear. PFF grades are not the end-all, be-all, right? J.J. Watt reiterated a point that I couldn't agree more with, and it's you don't know the ins and outs of every team. The people who truly go through and grade your team are your coaches. If Mike Macdonald came out every week and said, here are my grades for every player, I would trust those because Mike knows what's happening on the ins and outs of a move. But we don't always know because every team, even though you might be running the same style of play or same style of move or same style of offense, sometimes offensive coordinators, offensive line coaches, they ask for different little details. Anthony Bradford in this case, though, and where you can use PFF is, are they in the top, the middle, or the bottom? Use it for vast generalizations, right? Use it for if a player is in the top end of PFF, hey, he's pretty darn good. If he's in the middle, he's probably average. If he's in the bottom, probably sucks, right? Calling a spade a spade. Anthony Bradford, he's in the bottom. He just is. He's one of the worst guards right now, according to PFF. I understand that, again, PFF, not everything, end all be all. You're still at the bottom end. I'm still seeing TikTok edits every single week of the quarterback and Anthony Bradford staring at each other like this. It's not good. It's not good enough. You need to have improvement there. And the thing that he's supposed to be best at is that run blocking because he's big, strong, and physical. How come we can't run to the right side? It's not all on Abe Lucas, man. Abe Lucas has been awesome. Abe Lucas has been awesome. He's earned that contract extension. So some of this is on Bradford, and I wonder if it's a little bit on him not fitting the system. I wonder to a degree if it's he needs to, find a system that's a little more run downhill, a little more run heavy. Where the Seahawks, yes, they want to run the football, but they use these wide zone schemes, these long schemes. So what you're asking a lot of times to do for the guards is to get out and move. That doesn't fit every single guard. It fits a Gray Zabel. Jalen Sundell has honestly kind of let me down a little bit, but it does fit his system and his body style and his play style a little bit more. If you go back and you look at old school Will Ortner highlights, one, get better free time, do other things with your life, but you're going to see a lot of running downhill straight at people. I was good at going toe-to-toe, mano-a-mano, physical. I was bad at using my speed. I was bad at trying to get out to the edge. That just wasn't a skill set I had. So I didn't fit those types of offenses. Anthony Bradford doesn't really fit this type of offense. Right now, we got 428 of you in the building, 222 likes. Let's go get those like numbers up. Smash that thumbs up button. Smash that like button. Big Rich, I love Poland. What position did you play? Rich, let me know. Let me know down below in the comments. What position did you play? The Jacob, Bradford has no awareness. Yeah. Yep. There's a little bit of football IQ issues that I have. There's a little bit of football IQ issues that I have with Anthony Bradford. It needs to be improved. It needs to be much better. I'm a bit frustrated at times with what I've seen from him. More than a bit. More than just a little bit. As we go through here, I'm going to just reset some of the big trades that we've seen. Obviously, Sauce Gardner was traded over to the Colts. Big trade that just came in. Quinnen Williams got traded to the Cowboys. The big defensive tackle over there is now officially a Cowboy. So big move. Big trade there as well. Just running through some of the other big moves. Jacoby Myers got traded as well. Lots of resetting the trades, the big trades of the day. Your Seattle Seahawks trading away a 4th and a 5th round pick to go and get Rasheed Shaheed. I still think that there's plenty of time to make some moves. I saw a question in here early on from Q. What time is the trade deadline finished? You have an hour and a half. A little less than that, actually. It's going to be done at 3 o'clock Central Time. That's 4 Eastern Time. That's 2 Mountain Time. And that's 1 o'clock Pacific Time. So I just went through the time zones. Congratulations to me. Did well in geography as we go through there. I see some other offensive linemen here in the building. Robert, right guard and right tackle. Shout out to you. I see, where'd you go, Big Rich? I saw it. Center and left guard. Shout out. Hey, man. So I had starts at left tackle, left guard, and right tackle. And I got to play a little bit of center at the Dream Bowl. So shout out to me. Ooh, producer Avery's dad was a defensive lineman. So he and I now hate each other forever. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I love him. Ben McGeff, let's let Oots play every position. He's a real American ball player. I'll tell you what, getting him back is going to be a huge difference. I know he had the bad chop block penalty, but we should be happy with getting him back. So here's the full trade details again, resetting for everyone who just joined us, not able to be here. Blaze, shout out to you and your network. Just kidding. I don't watch the Blaze network. But here is the trade that just happened. The Seattle Seahawks traded a 4th and a 5th round pick in this year's NFL draft for Rasheed Shaheed. He is now going to rejoin with his former offensive coordinator, Klint Kubiak, in Seattle. Tom Pelissero and Ian Rappaport had it first. They fired out the tweet And then immediately following behind that, I got mine out and my YouTube video here on the channel as quickly as possible. Of course, that is why you subscribe. This is a big move for Seattle because what Shaheed is going to give you is something that Torrey Horton gave you a decent deal with, but not to the same extent that Shaheed is. I'm watching former players go through right now on Twitter. Derek Carr just tweeted a highlight videotape of Shaheed and said, if you just launch it, he will go get it. When was his best year? That's when Derek Carr and Rasheed Shaheed were throwing the ball to each other. Well, before Derek Carr got hurt, unfortunately. Oh, actually, I don't believe they would have been together that year. I could be wrong on that. But anyways, throw the ball up. Shaheed's going to go get it. He's also going to add to your special teams as well. He will be that kick returner. He's going to take over for that role that Derek Young had been in. Torrey Horton has done a good job of being a speedster, but now you get a little bit faster player, a little bit bigger of a player as well. The former Weber State Big Sky football player. You can look at his 2025 stats. Now, his receptions and his targets are well higher than they have been in previous years at this point in the season. Some of that is Shaheed playing better. Some of that is also his trade ability, his trade market, right? The more that he got the ball fed to him, the higher of a demanding price that the Saints could offer. Now, they didn't get that third rounder that they kept begging everybody for, but they do get 2 day 3 picks from the Seahawks, and those are big trade pieces as well. Blaze, I'm glad we didn't trade Woolen because he's been playing really well since his concussion. Could not agree with you more. Peyton's music, if we don't trade for an LB, then I guess news on Ernest Jones is good. I would say, and I released it in my morning video, there was no news yesterday on Ernest Jones. I think that's good news. No news is good news when it comes to a knee injury. I think that's very important. Aaron played fullback. I do have one snap at fullback. They let me go in motion. I think I'm the only player to ever get to go into motion. Actually, can you load that up? Thank you. If you leave that there, I'll talk about that in just 1 second. Because he is someone that is on the trade block as well. Yeah. You're the best. There's a list for cat in there, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Careers. So we can use both. Robert, I'm 6'3", 275. Shout out to you. I am 6'5", 235. Ding! Shout out Dan Patrick. And then when I played, I was 315. Big boy, long hair. Feel free to Google the old Will Ortner pictures. Avery wants everyone to know that she is 5 feet tall, twisted steel, and all that good stuff. Yeah, nice. Absolutely love it. Okay, so this is the trade you traded for Rasheed Shaheed. Now we're going to go through a couple of potential trade targets that are on the trading block for the Seahawks. The big one that Blaze mentioned earlier, Riq Woolen. He's been a strong cornerback over his career, but you can see as his career has gone on, it has gotten worse and worse and worse. Now, you might ask yourself, why is that? I would say it's because of the system that Mike Macdonald plays in. Not to disparage Riq Woolen. I want that very clear. His football IQ does not equal what his athletic ability is. What do I mean by that? In the system that Mike Macdonald plays, he plays a zone scheme. So you have to be almost thinking ahead of what the offense is going to do to come in and make big plays and get big interceptions. Riq Woolen is at his best when you say, you see that guy over there? Go whoop him. Go beat him. And so when Riq Woolen was in more of a man system or in a scheme where he just had to focus on one person, he excelled. That is why he's on the trading block. Do I think the Seahawks will move on from him? No, I do not. I think that Blaze said it perfectly. He's been playing extremely well since his concussion. Frankly, he was starting to play well before the concussion. He had a really bad game one. He made 2 big mistakes game one, and he had a couple penalties early on in the season. Ever since then, I would say that he's been pretty darn good. You go through here. Here's his stats going in to the week. They're not bad, man. They're not bad. He doesn't have an interception. He's almost able to make the play there against the Commanders, but he is a guy that I think with Riq Woolen that this might be his last year in Seattle, but that doesn't mean that you can lose him. He's not expendable. We've seen already this year, if you have more injury issues, if Josh Jobe is out for an extended period of time with his concussion, if Devin Witherspoon continues to have knee issues, if there's another injury that we don't see coming, Riq Woolen is still your best option to fill in for them. You need Riq Woolen still, as well as Darian Kendrick has played, as well as Josh Jobe has played this year. You still are going to need Riq Woolen. And so while he might not fit the long-term scheme for this team, well, he might not be someone that sticks around for the entirety of his career as a Seattle Seahawk. He's going to bounce around to other NFL teams. He's not a guy I think that you can officially move on from this year. We're an hour and 15 minutes away from the trade deadline ending. I appreciate everyone in the group chat or in the comment section. That is, I appreciate it. Let's just say it that way. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. There was a question in here that I want to go in and find. Oh, shout out to Rob at Pullman High School. Greyhounds, right? You're the Greyhounds? I played at Hawkinson High School. Ooh, Sam's in Syracuse, New York. Shout out to you. 400 people hanging out with us. We got 256 likes. Make sure that if you haven't, we keep liking the video. Here is what I am going to do. I'm going to go in as we go through, and I want to reset all the trades because there have been a multitude. This is a crazy NFL trade deadline, and I want to make sure that everyone gets their updates as they come through. So the big news of the day, as I scroll through, started off early in the morning. Cowboys made a trade. They added linebacker Logan Wilson from the Cincinnati Bengals. Woke up to that one. Didn't even get to my alarm. That was the big bop. Ready to go, right? So you knew it was going to be a crazy trade deadline, especially with all the trades that have been going through today. The other big trade of the day, or trade news, I should say, was that Jerry Jones had hinted the Cowboys might not just be done. Well, before he was able to make another big trade, the Jacksonville Jaguars made a move and got Jacoby Myers from the Raiders. Raiders have basically been saying that Jacoby Myers was a potential trade target. He was someone that could be moved on from at any moment. That move finally went through. Then the Colts made an absolute stunner. They traded away Adonai Mitchell and a 2026 and 2027 first-round pick for star cornerback Sauce Gardner. That was the weak point of the Indianapolis Colts. There were a lot of people that were linking Riq Woolen to the Colts. Oh, they don't need Riq. They got Sauce, and that's a big-time move there. The Bears made a trade for Joe Tyron Shoy Inca. Definitely mispronounced his name. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. So they moved on. The Bears made the trade with the Browns for Joe Tyron. Big trade there. So the Bears ended up sending a 6th-round pick, and they got back a 2026 7th-rounder as well as Joe Tyron. Then the Cowboys, not to be outdone, wanted to make sure that everybody knew they weren't just done in the trade market. They traded for Quinnen Williams with the New York Jets. So in exchange, the Jets are going to get a 2026 2nd-round pick and a 2027 1st-round pick and defensive tackle Mozzie Smith for Quinnen Williams. So those are the big trades from the other teams, but the trade that we all should care about the most today, at least so far, is this trade that we're going to pop up here on the screen. Seattle Seahawks sending a 4th and a 5th-round pick in this year's NFL draft to the New Orleans Saints for Rasheed, the need for speed, Shaheed. Big move, big trade. Now, it might not be the trade that I necessarily wanted. I think I'm going to, bitter taste in my mouth is the wrong way to say it, but I won't be completely satisfied if this is the only move the Seahawks make. I want a guard or I want an edge rusher. There's still time. You have an hour and 10 minutes. Hour and 10 minutes, John Schneider. Get on the phone. Start making some calls. Let's bring in somebody big time. I want the Seahawks to bring in somebody big. While we're going to be live for the next little bit, if you want to be featured on the show today, send in a super chat. Don't care what it is. Don't care the amount. If you send in a super chat, we'll get you up on the screen, and we'll talk about whatever question mark that you have or whatever move that you want made. Yes. So these are the trade targets that I've been talking about for guard. Anthony Bradford has been, well, not very good. And these would be the moves that I would like to see made if you can go and get a guard. There's also some trade buzz around the offensive lineman over in Washington with the Commanders. I don't know that they necessarily fit with the Seattle Seahawks because they're tackles, frankly. So I don't know that they fit with your Seattle Seahawks, but that could be a move over there. Shout out to Robert. Ooh, UW. You're not going to like the hat I wore in today. I had a Cougar hat on. But I wear a lot of Central Washington stuff. Big Central Washington guy. Manny, happy birthday, man. Shout out to you. That's awesome. Thank you for being here. JPJ would be awesome. Robert, let's talk about JPJ. I think that's a great transition. He's not on our trade targets because basically I've been kind of told no. But I'd like to talk about JPJ because I think as we get closer and closer, early on I said, well, you should trade Reek Woolen and try and get JPJ. He's a guy who could play center. He could play guard for your Seattle Seahawks. But I think that as we get closer to the deadline, it is important to note and to notice that he is getting more and more frustrated with his playing time. He's getting more and more frustrated with the fact that the Raiders are not using him correctly. We'd use you correctly in Seattle, JPJ. He's a former Oregon Duck offensive lineman. I covered him when he was over there. He won the Remington Award, which is the best center in the college football world. He was a player that took over from Alex Forsythe at that center spot. Everyone was a little bit kind of unsure, a little bit worried. Could JPJ come in and fill that role? And he filled it to a T. He was freaking fantastic and awesome in Oregon. I think he can be that same player in the NFL. And if you made a trade for him, now there's a conversation of, does he go to center? Is there a position battle or a position fight for that right guard spot between him and Anthony Bradford? Or does he go to center? Now it's Jalen Sandell, Olu Oluwatimi, and Christian Haynes battling it out with Anthony Bradford. Where does the move come in? Where do the changes go? I think it's important to note that those are awesome. Ben, wrong Forsythe. Wrong Forsythe. Stone, Alex, good dude. We like Alex. Alex, good guy. So this is important. Just coming across the Twitter timeline, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, NFL Insider. Spotlights on the Jets in the final 75 minutes of the deadline after two massive deals. Teams say New York wants a second for edge Jermaine Johnson, who has expected to stay with the team. Now, Jermaine Johnson is someone that we've talked a little bit here on the channel about, someone that could potentially be a move that the Seahawks make if they want to go towards an edge rusher. These are all, that is an option, someone to keep an eye on potentially that the Seahawks could go and get. They are dubbing it the Legion of Zoom now at that wide receiver room in Seattle. Wish I could take that one, but that's a pretty good one. Peyton, I won the boot race against producer Reed on Sunday. I won the boot. Colin is just an animal. Colin's just a better athlete, better chugger than I am. I'm trying. He's a tank. He is. I'm trying. Ooh, are these from today? Yes. Okay, so we'll go through those in just 1 second. But I did see this from PFF. So right now, this is a graphic that they just dropped. I'm going to read it from the computer. Rasheed Shaheed has a 94.5 PFF grade on targets 20-plus yards since 2023. Sam Darnold has a 97.4 passing grade on 20-plus yard throws since 2024. Pretty frickin' impressive. Pretty freaking good. I'm excited. I think that'll be a big deal. For Breeze, not yet. You basically have an hour. You have an hour and 6 minutes before the trade deadline is over. If you want to make sure that your questions get seen or you get heard, you can send in a super and we'll get you up here on the screen, just like JC did, just like Xander, Ryan, Pablo Domingo. A lot of great stuff going on there. This is an important one too. So this is coming from Spot Track. Make sure, if you haven't, by the way, like the video. We're almost to 300 likes. We really appreciate it. Gets more Seahawks fans in the building. Spot Track says, if Rasheed Shaheed walks, so the Seahawks just made a trade for Rasheed Shaheed. If he walks, the Seahawks are going to get a 2026 fourth round comp pick. That means that basically, if the Seahawks, to my understanding, trade for Rasheed Shaheed, just like they have, and Shaheed says, hey, I'm not going to sign with the Seahawks, I'm going to go elsewhere, you are going to get that fourth round pick back. So you either get Rasheed Shaheed and lose a fourth and a fifth, or you don't get Shaheed and you just lose a fifth round pick. Not a bad trade. Not a bad trade. Not only are you getting a guy that fits the system, fits the scheme, you're getting some explosive ability. Yes. Let's do that just to be safe, because I don't know what I have to read through. And I don't know if the live is sponsored, but that's okay. We'll just be safe. Fair enough. All right, so I want to make sure that we get into more of the conversation surrounding the trade market and what the Seahawks could do in the final hour of this trade deadline. But before I do that, I need to let you know that this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by gaining $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on any 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if your picks are right, you could cash in. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones are overhyped? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. I have a 3-pick power play for this weekend's action. Bo Nix, he's going to have more pass completions than listed. Ashton Genty, more receiving yards than listed. Brock Bowers, more receptions than he is listed. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, so breaking news, big news of the day. Seahawks made that trade for Rasheed Shaheed, sending a 4th and a 5th to the New Orleans Saints, reuniting Shaheed with his former offensive coordinator, Klint Kubiak in Seattle. What does this new addition do for your Seahawks? Well, frankly, it adds the deep play threat. It adds a deep play ability. It adds a wide receiver that can take the top off the defense. And I think his former quarterback, Derek Carr, said it best. Just chuck it up, and he'll go make the play. When you look at that wide receiver room, this is your new look Seahawks wide receivers. Jaxon Smith-Njigba, obviously number one. I don't think that Cooper Kupp is going to go anywhere. There's been some people talking now, does he move down in the depth chart? Does he get benched? I don't think so. I think with Kupp, he adds something that the other three guys just kind of don't, and that's being that sure-handed possession receiver. JSN does everything, but you don't want to ask him to be the have-to go-to guy on third down. Cooper Kupp can just do so many things, and what's most important about him is honestly, his football IQ, his football genius. He knows what defenses are trying to do. He knows where to get open, how to get open. And there's a reason why he's been so successful in this career that he's had. Yakima is finest for a reason. Shaheed and Torrey Horton now add in that extra element of the deep ball. And what Torrey Horton does a great job of doing is he keeps finding the end zone, right? He's got 13 receptions. Well, he's basically 50% on touchdowns because he's got 5 touchdowns on the year. So basically, what is that? A fourth of the time or 40% of the time you throw the ball to Torrey Horton, he gets in the end zone. Now Shaheed adds in that speed that just nobody else, frankly, has. I mean, you can look at his stats so far on the year right now. The former Weber State grad, I believe he's a Wildcat. Weber State, I believe they're the Wildcats. He has a long of 87. That's a college stat. That's not something that people do in the NFL. Guys are fast. Guys get ran down. Guys get chased down. Not him. Not him. He does not get brought down. He does not get tackled when he gets loose. You can see now as you look at over his career, obviously this is one of his higher reception years. Frankly, if he gets 2 more catches, he will have more receptions in a season than he's ever had in his career. Now, the Saints were a kind of stat pad, and they were trying to get his numbers up. But what's most important is his ability to completely take the top off of the defense. He's going to open things up for everybody else, or he's going to be a player that takes advantage when Jaxon Smith-Njigba gets double teamed and gets locked up. So that's the big trade for your Seattle Seahawks. And I think it's important as we're going through here that people don't realize how big of a move this is, because it doesn't just help in your receiving game. It also helps in your return game as well. The Seahawks got a really good player. Would I have liked a little bit more or maybe a different move? Yes, but it really does feel like the Seahawks made a big trade here. You just got to find a way to re-sign him. If you want your question up on the channel, up on the video today, you can send in a super chat. That would be great. 359 of you guys hanging out with us right now. 301 likes. Appreciate everyone who's come in and gotten a like. We were doing the super chats earlier. We already got Pablo Domingo up. He's saying that he wants the Seahawks. Ooh, love that. Love that sub number. Love that sub number. If you're not subbed, what are you doing? That's crazy. Come on in. Subscribe to the channel. Remember, as soon as there's breaking news on your Seattle Seahawks, we're going to get that content out to you ASAP. You do not want to miss it. So make sure that you are subscribed. It always does help us just a little bit more. If you want that super chat up, by the way, make sure that you send it in for us. We'll get you up on the channel. And we'll go through kind of breaking down whatever questions that you have about what you've seen at the trade deadline. Obviously, early on today, I released a video where I said I don't want a receiver. I've changed my mind. I want a receiver, and I'm glad you got the receiver that you got. Could have 3 Big Sky starters. Smoke burp. Well, you have Rasheed Shaheed. He's Weber State. Cooper Kupp is Eastern Washington. Now Sundell and Jalen Sundell and Gray Zabel are North Dakota State. So they're like what? Big West? Big Mountain? They're big something. Oh! Tayo Kuda. Forgot about Tayo Kuda. I forgot. Where's Tayo Kuda from? I should know this. I'm Mr. West Coast. I should know where they all went to college. Montana State. I should have known he was Bobcat. Should have known that. Ridiculous. That's a great idea. Let's throw up the Reek Woolen stats again. There's also a Adam Schefter quote, and I don't know that it got moved over, which I can move it over for you if you'd like. It talks about Boye Mafe and Reek Woolen, and I think that those would be great to show. Because your Seahawks, we're getting closer now to not only the end of the trade deadline, because you're within an hour of it. Perfect. Let's rifle through all of them. Yep. So I want to show here, we're going to show Adam Schefter's most recent ESPN article quotes on the two guys on the trading block for your Seattle Seahawks. So we're within an hour of the NFL trade deadline. Could Boye Mafe or could Riq Woolen get moved on from? So first, here's Schefter talking about Mafe. Mafe is going to turn 27 later this month. Wow, what a young whippersnapper. 15 sacks the past 2 seasons, but he enters Sunday. That was against the Commanders with 0 sacks. Give you a hint, he didn't get a sack in that game. And only 1 tackle for a loss in 7 games. That is not an improvement that you would be looking for from the Seahawks. That is not good enough. That is why he could be getting on the trade block. Maybe just a fresh change of scenery could help him improve. The Seahawks do have some big contracts that they have to pay in their future. Wide receiver JSN, offensive tackle Charles Cross, and cornerback Devin Witherspoon. All 3 guys, you have to pay. Now, the Seahawks don't want to trade Mafe or Woolen. I've been saying that. Adam Schefter says that. But if a team gets aggressive and gives a big offer, you could see the Seahawks move on from one of them or both of them. I think that if you are going to move on from one, it seems most likely to me that the move on would be Boye Mafe. Most likely to me, if you make a trade, it would be Boye Mafe, and you'd be moving on from him, I think, to find a defensive end, an edge rusher, that Kayvon Thibodeau, Bradley Chubb type of player. I don't know if it's coming, but we're in the nut cutting time. We're in the final hour. Will there be a trade? It doesn't look like Jermaine Johnson is going to get traded. We could do that. Let me think about it. I think there's a way we can work it in. Because let's do that. Let's do JSN. I'd love to see this. This is going into the Commanders game. So I'll make sure that I preface that for those of you who are tuned in. I appreciate you guys all for hanging out. 342 of you, 310 likes. That's freaking awesome. Appreciate everyone who liked the video. So here's JSN's stats going into the Commanders game. Now you can add 8 receptions to his receiving stats, and you can add another 129 yards on his receiving yardage mark. JSN has been the best wide receiver in the NFL this year. It isn't close. He's been number 1, and number 2 is nowhere in the ballpark. Going into last week, after the bye week, this was your NFL receiving yards leaders. It's only gotten bigger since he left. It's only expanded more since last week with JSN, and it's only going to continue to expand more. You have a wide receiver that has the potential to be the first 2,000-yard receiver in the history of the NFL. And I fully believe that he can and will get there. The question is, though, how much does Rasheed Shaheed's trade help expand upon this? And I think it's tenfold. And they're going to be working together in this, in the sense of teams right now, when you're playing the New Orleans Saints, are able to put a high safety over Rasheed Shaheed. They do this to stop Shaheed's speed from beating them deep, but more importantly, they do this to stop the big plays. Well, if you're playing Seattle and you put a safety over the top of Rasheed Shaheed, that leaves JSN one-on-one. Or it leaves things open underneath for other players, because you could say, hey, we're going to go 2 high safeties. Now JSN can't beat us deep. Now Shaheed can't beat us deep. Now Cooper Kupp can beat you underneath. Now AJ Barner can beat you underneath. Now you don't have enough guys in the box to where that run game gets a lot easier. This is a sneaky great signing for your Seattle Seahawks. I didn't think Seattle would make a trade for a receiver. I certainly didn't think they would make the move for Shaheed. He just made your offense, your team, that much better. I think JC said it best. I cannot wait for frickin' Sunday. Here's the trade alert that came through. Here's what the Seahawks traded for with Shaheed. Rasheed Shaheed for a 2026 fourth and a 2026 fifth. Now, I saw a tweet from Spot Track. It does look, because Shaheed is in the final year of his contract, if he walks, the Seahawks would get a fourth round compensatory pick. So now the pick in the fourth round would be worse than the fourth round pick that they already that they would have traded away. But essentially, if Shaheed walks, you got him for a fifth round pick. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Aspect Gaming, Seahawks ranked number 1. I love that, dude. I freaking love that. Preston, what you send my way? I'm looking at it right now in the Instagram as well. Yes. So Preston sent me a lot of reactions from JSN and from Chris Olave. There's a lot of anger right now in New Orleans that Rasheed Shaheed got traded away. There's a lot of guys that are sad and upset that your Seattle Seahawks got a speedster, got a demon in Rasheed Shaheed. Slatton, Seahawks do something, please. Well, they kind of already did something. Do you see the screen? Kind of already did something. I would like a little bit more. I agree. I would like a little bit more from your Seattle Seahawks. And you know what? I think this is perfect time. We're going to reset it because we haven't had a chance to do this for a moment. I want you guys to grade the trade right now in the comment section, and I'm going to give some shout-outs. Grade the trade for the Seahawks. Is this an A trade, a B trade, a C trade, a D trade, or an F trade? Let us know down below in the comments, and then I'll talk to you about my trade and what I think it is. Sweet. Love it. Hopefully that didn't pop up on the camera. Cool. Producer Avery's over here saving my butt. It's getting quiet, man. It's getting quiet on the trade market. I keep looking. It's getting a little quiet. Dakota says A-. I don't think that's a bad idea. I like the A-. I think I'm a little lower than you. I think I'm more at like a B. Samoan Seahawks. I think Ernest Jones, I don't think he's going to miss a ton of time. I think I'm at a B. Maybe B+. I don't know that you necessarily needed Rasheed Shaheed. I mean, I was making the joke that you had Rasheed Shaheed at home. Now that we have Rasheed Shaheed, I am very glad that you made that move. And it's not just because I'm in the pocket of the front office. Kind of am. But I do think that it's going to be important for this team. I see a lot of A's, A+. I don't know if I'm quite fully there yet, just because like you weren't in a dire need at wide receiver. Now, I think if you told me like, hey, you went and got a big right guard or you got a big edge rusher, maybe I'd be more at an A+ because of what the move meant for you and how big of a deal it was for you. But I don't know that I'm fully there. I see Mike has a D. Mike, okay, so let's do this. Mike says D, and then he says wasted trade. What do you mean by that, Mike? What do you mean wasted trade? Because in my eyes, I don't think that this is a wasted trade. I think you're adding in some extra element to the team. You're adding an element to the team that you didn't have previously. Well, okay. So Mike says you don't need a wide receiver. You need a right guard that helps more with the run. Agreed. A right guard is going to help more with the run than a wide receiver, and you didn't necessarily need a wide receiver. You are kind of taking a position that was strong and making it a greater strength. Now, I will say this, though, and it's something that's been in the back of my mind, and it's been something that I think most Seahawks fans probably have had to think about, but don't really want to own up to. What is this wide receiver room if JSN misses a week? You know what I mean? Like, look at the depth chart. Take away Rasheed Shaheed. Take him away. Go back to what you had before. JSN, Cooper Kupp, Torrey Horton, Jake Bobo, Cody White, Derek Young. What is this wide receiver room? If JSN is out for 1 week and you don't have Rasheed Shaheed, you have a guy who used to be great and is still pretty good, average, but not as great as he once was. And you have a young guy who could become great one day, but just quite isn't there yet. To me, adding in Shaheed adds in an extra element, and if JSN were to go out, you would be very, very strong. Austin, Seattle Super Bowl. Feel pretty good about it. Yes. Can we show that next, please? Because Robert would like to know what Rasheed Shaheed's career stats are. And they're right here. We got them right up here for you, Robert. So here's my deal. You can see his season stats in 2025. He's played in every game so far this year for the Saints. Now, his reception and targets are higher than they've ever been in his career. Some of that is because he's getting open at a higher level. He's, becoming a better player. But what's more important here for him is, well, they were trying to feed him to boost up his trade value. The Saints were not going to be good this year. They knew that Rasheed Shaheed was not in their long-term plans and that they were going to need to reset. It's not been a secret. Rasheed Shaheed has been on the trade market for quite some time. And so the Saints were trying to bolster him up to move on from him, and they have done that. So you're looking at a career year on multiple fronts right here for Shaheed. He's going to have more receptions than he's ever had. He's going to have more targets, and he's probably going to have more yards. Now, the average is a little bit lower. It's because the Saints were getting him the ball at a much higher rate, so sometimes that means more bubble screens. That sometimes means more short throws. With the Seahawks, I think you're going to see the targets and the receptions go down a little bit, at least on a per-game basis. I think you see the average go up. I think you see the yards go up because Seattle is going to use him as a big play threat. Seattle is going to use him as a big play target. Seattle is going to use him to have your explosive plays. That is the one thing that I don't know that your offense really has had this year if it wasn't to a guy named Jaxon Smith-Njigba or Cody White just breaking a couple of tackles. While I do agree with Mike that it wasn't necessarily a position of need. That's why it's not an A trade for me. It's still a improvement and adds a lot to this team. And that's really important. Trigger, I see you're Superman. We're going to get you up here in just one moment. Producer Avery, quick on the ones and twos. Has Trigger up. What up, Trigger? Good to see you. Shaheed and JSN and Torrey Horton going to be nasty. Still think we need another D end or offensive lineman. Agreed. I think I've said it more than a few times, but I will be upset if this is the only move that Seattle makes. Upset's wrong. I'll be dissatisfied. I'll be a bit curious. I think that you have a clear, glaring weakness at that right guard spot, and you have another spot where it can be improved upon to a much greater degree. And right now, Seattle has not made a move for either one of those two positions. Does that mean that you don't have that player there? Maybe. Maybe they're calling and the offers are too great. We still have 40 minutes left to go in this trade deadline. So it's something that could possibly happen. But I would say this right now, Trigger. I love the wide receiver room. I think you need another trade. I think you need multiple trades. I think it will help grow more. Yeah, it should be in there in a depth 5. It is 100% correct. It has not been changed. Banana, don't hate it, just weird. That's kind of my initial reaction too, man. That's kind of my initial reaction as well. Here's your offensive line room right now. Banana, we'll get your super up in just one moment after we go through the offensive line. When you look at the offensive line, Charles Cross has been amazing this year. Abraham Lucas is playing up to his extension. Gray Zabel is the best rookie offensive lineman in the NFL right now. And you have Jalen Sundell and Anthony Bradford that rank at the bottom end of PFF. Is that the end all be all? No, but if you're at the bottom end, you're not playing very well. So there, to me, seems to be an improvement. Mike Macdonald has made it clear that they don't want to, or they are not going to make an improvement from inside of the house. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Anthony Bradford beat out Christian Haynes before Christian Haynes went on IR. Anthony Bradford and Jalen Sundell beat out Christian Haynes and Oluwatimi before they went on IR. And before and during training camp in the case with Sundell and Oluwatimi. That tells me that in practices, Anthony Bradford's still playing better than Haynes. Jalen Sundell is still playing better than Oluwatimi. So if the change isn't coming from in the house, it would have to come from outside of the house. There's only one way to get it from outside of the house. By making a trade. You got to do it right freaking now. You got to do that right freaking now. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you do so. We're growing this every single day. Trying to get us up, and up on those numbers. 358 of you guys hanging out with us. 333 likes. Appreciate it. Hopefully we don't double that like number. And if we do, hopefully we double it +1. Hopefully we double it +1. Banana! What's up, man? Good to see a Seahawks Hall of Fame member. I want Trey Hendrickson. What do you think? I want him too. I don't know that we'll be able to make that move. I don't know if that move is in the cards. We're getting to a point where I worry. I wonder if the Seahawks will make that move, make that trade. It's a lot. You'd have to give up a lot. I don't know that the Seahawks feel like they need to. We might feel like they need to. We might feel like it would be in the best interest for them. But I don't know. You got 40 minutes. 40 minutes before the deadline. And then we'll see. Ryan, I do not want Evan Neal. To quote the great Dom LaGreca, boo his ass. Will they re-sign Woolen? Ryan, thank you for yelling from the mountaintops. I don't think they do. I don't think that Riq Woolen gets re-signed in Seattle. I don't think that he fits the system. And I think that if Seattle didn't have the injury issues that they've had in the secondary, I don't know that he would still be a Seahawk. The thing is, though, you've had a ton of injury issues. I think he's still going to be a Seahawk. I don't think he's going anywhere, man. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think you hold on to him. Apparently, if you just yell in the chat, I will notice it. I hope so, Trigger. I hope we sneak in another trade. I think it's possible. I think right now my voice box doesn't want us to, but it's not really up to my voice box. Remember, every super that gets sent in, by the way, I do and will. I will do a flight of stairs. Yeah, producer Avery doesn't realize that I did 360 flights of stairs yesterday. I think that's what the number value was. The problem is I still have another like 500. Yeah, I have another 578 still to go. 578. Well, with all this, I have another 600 still to go. Let's do that. I think that'd be a great idea. Thank you so much. Let's start with the Wilson one. I think that is perfect. So, here is the first trade that got everything kicked off today. I think there was some scuttlebutt that maybe the Seahawks would make a move for a linebacker. Logan Wilson, obviously very disgruntled in Cincinnati. Maybe he'll be more gruntled in Dallas. His issue with Cincinnati is that defense just has been atrocious. And every year that Joe Burrow is hurt, they just flounder. They're so built and reliant on one player, it's sickening. So Logan Wilson ended up getting traded for a 7th-round pick. That tells me that because of his trade demand, that there really just wasn't much of a trade market out there. And I'm sure that him demanding a trade kind of brought some of that value down for the Bengals. Cowboys, not the only trade move that they were going to make. Draymond Jones ended up getting traded. Former Seattle Seahawks, shout out. Got traded from the Titans to the Baltimore Ravens for a conditional 2026 5th-round pick. Draymond Jones, older player, guy that can really help the Ravens, adding into some of their pass rush. They've had some issues over there. He can really take a step forward. Draymond Jones, while he might not have been, lights out in Seattle, still a quality player. A couple days ago, you saw the trade. Jalen Phillips, he ended up getting sent over to the Miami Dolphins. He got sent away from the Miami Dolphins to the Philadelphia Eagles. Howie does it again. Hallelujah. That's what I've been told to say. I will not sing the song because Chugs does it better than me. So he got traded for a third-round pick. Now, what's key there with the Eagles is that Howie does this thing, and it's very important. I think that John Schneider does it as well, but probably not quite to the degree that Howie does, because I just think Howie's the best GM in the NFL. John Schneider, very good, just not quite as good. What Howie does, and is most impressive to me, is that he stockpiles these draft picks so that he can trade away another one, right? So he had multiple third-round draft picks. So it doesn't hurt him to trade a third for Jalen Phillips, because if Jalen Phillips doesn't pan out, well, you still have another third. And you're trusting that your scouting department and yourself can come up with a player that fits the team. So I would say I was very impressed with this trade. I was hoping that Phillips was a guy that maybe Seattle would make a move for. Unfortunately, Seattle did not make a move there. Did not get him. That Jair Alexander trade was from the weekend, so I don't know that we need to go through that one. But obviously, the Eagles continue to make moves. They are ever efficient. They keep going through. That's okay, producer Avery. Those are all older ones that were made. All good. Those were all made a little bit ago, so that is okay. We got basically 30 minutes left to go in the NFL trade deadline. A lot of people like Peyton's music. They're hoping, they're praying that the Seahawks go out and make another trade. I'm one of those people as well. The question is what do you trade for? Who do you get back? And is there a trade out there that excites you most? Go down below in the comment section right now and let me know. Let me know. Pie in the sky. I'll let you dream your dreams. What trade do you want? Trigger, I think the Quentin Williams trade is probably the other bombshell. Although, I tell you what, Seahawks for Rasheed Shaheed, it's pretty blockbuster. It's pretty bombshell. It's pretty darn close. It's up there. It's up pretty high. Preston is a little disappointed right now. I don't disagree. I'm not disappointed. But I would love to see a little bit more from your Seattle Seahawks. A little bit more movement. A little bit more, few more moves, few more trades. Here is our good friend Rasheed Shaheed, your new Seattle Seahawk. I'll be doing a video later as well surrounding this trade that you're not going to want to miss. So make sure that you come back to the channel. Bradford for a green painted parking curb. That's pretty good, Peyton. That's pretty good. Austin, we got to give up Woolen. IDK, what for, though? Dude, if we're giving up Woolen, we better get a good return for him. He's just so valuable. He's just so valuable. Pizza Bob, Max Crosby. One, don't say pizza right now. That just makes me hungry because our lunch at Chat Sports got here 3 hours ago. And, well, I'm not fasting. Max Crosby. I would love Max Crosby. I don't think he's available. I really don't. I would love to be wrong. I'd love to have to come up here and eat crow. Because the trade deadline, like I said, that's 30 minutes away. 30 minutes away from the trade deadline. I would love to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I'm speaking it into existence. Tell me I'm wrong. I just don't know that I will be. I don't know that we're going to be able to say that. Chris Olave, fantasy stock through the roof. Agreed. Garrett Hayes, I think we need to address the right guard spot. Agreed. I don't know why we haven't. I wish that we would. What do I think about Evan Neal? That's from Alejandro. I think Dom LaGreca said it best. Boo his ass. I'm not going to go up here and say that he's a piece of garbage, but that's a guy who's supposed to be a big-time player, big-time performer, and he's a healthy scratch every other week. I'm good. I'm good on Evan Neal. Light Shadow Onyx, I agree with you. Verblender, I hope I pronounced your name right. I said if you want to get a wide receiver, go for Chris Olave or Jalen Waddle. I don't know that they were really open, really free, so I think that's fine. Austin Creed Humphreys. Yeah, I would love Creed Humphreys. He's definitely not available. Definitely not available. So there were 6 trades today. That's tied for the third most of any trade deadline going all the way back to 1990. The most trades there ever were in 2022 when there were 10, 8 trades in November of 5th of 2024. So one of the more active trade deadlines for the NFL and a big trade deadline day for the Seattle Seahawks. 342 of you hanging out with us, 340 likes. That's pretty good. If you haven't liked and you're one of the 2 guys, like it. Yes, the trade deadline ends in 30 minutes, my good sir. 30 minutes. Yeah, you know what? Maybe the issue is that John's phone just isn't charged. That is completely possible. Probable, in fact. 30 minutes to go. Boy, oh boy. Do the Seahawks make one more move? I love that. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get the chat going and interacting because we love you guys here on Seahawks Today. What's been your favorite trade of the day so far? Has there been a move that's really excited you? Is there a move that you find fascinating? Is there a move that you think completely changes things for a team? Maybe your favorite move is the Seahawks trade for Rasheed Shaheed. Maybe it's a trade elsewhere. Maybe you like the Logan Wilson trade. Let me know down below in the comments. 28 minutes away. Need a right guard. There's a lot of right guard asking. Ooh, I appreciate that. Producer Avery asked me what's been my favorite trade. I would say that my favorite trade so far of the season, I think just Howie Roseman trading a third away for Jalen Phillips. My reasoning for that is it's not that John Schneider has done a bad job. I think he's done a good job with the trades. I didn't see the Shaheed trade coming anytime soon. What I would say, though, is what Howie did is he knew he had an extra third-round pick, and he could use it on a guy like Phillips. Phillips was great at getting to the quarterback before he ended up getting hurt. I believe he tore his Achilles, and that is why he's missed some time. And he hasn't quite looked the same. But he is the type of player that if you give him time, why couldn't he return back to what he was? And if he doesn't, you still have a third-round pick. You're not wasting it. You're not losing it, right? You still have an opportunity to be one of the playmakers, be one of the big movers, but you also have a chance to really double up. So I like the move that Howie made there. Luke, we see you. You're asking for the starting receivers. Don't you worry. We'll get you up here on the screen. We'll go back through it for you and let you know what your new look Seahawks wide receiver depth chart is. Jaxon Smith-Njigba is going to be your wide receiver number 1. Cooper Kupp is still going to stay wide receiver 2. The reasoning for this is because he is your possession receiver. He is your receiver that when you need a crucial third down, he's going to be the target. Some teams, it's a tight end. We've seen A.J. Barner kind of expand into that role a little bit, especially now that Cooper Kupp missed last week. But I don't think that spot is going to be completely lost. And I want Cooper Kupp to stay because I want Cooper Kupp to use his wisdom and help with some of the football IQ for some of the other players around your team because they are younger. Shaheed, look, he's only been in the NFL. This is his 4th year. He's a younger player. Torrey Horton's a younger player. I mean, even Jaxon Smith-Njigba, he's only been in the league 3 years. So even though he's a great wide receiver and he's been the best wide receiver in the NFL this year, you still need Cooper Kupp there to help out. Obviously, Shaheed then becomes your receiver 3, and Torrey Horton is your wide receiver number 4. This is what the Seahawks gave up for Rasheed Shaheed, a 2026 4th-round pick, as well as a 2026 5th-round pick. Here is where it gets interesting. I'm pulling this tweet up because this is from Spot Track. Now, Spot Track, for those of you who do not know, he does a great job when it comes to salary cap, how much a team still can move on from, how much space a team has in the salary cap market. And so when asked, what the Seahawks would get in a comp pick if Rasheed Shaheed walks, because Shaheed is in the final year of his contract. It's also the first year. It's a 1-year deal. That's how those work. If he moved on, Seattle would more than likely get back a 4th-round compensatory pick. So what you're telling me then is really Seattle traded for Rasheed Shaheed and a 5th-round pick. Because if he walks, you're going to get that 4th back. It'll be a little bit worse, but you'd get it back. And if he stays, well, Rasheed Shaheed is better than a 4th-round pick more than likely. He's more than likely going to be better than a 5th-round pick guy or whoever you could get in that spot. So I think it's a good trade. Again, I've said it. I think it's a B, high B, low B plus, right around that 87 mark, right? 87%, 88, high 86, 86.5 maybe. Because your Seahawks obviously improved, but it wasn't necessarily a position you were dying for improvement in. It wasn't necessarily a position that you were trying to continue to push. It's not like right guard. It's not like getting an edge rusher. You want to continue to move forward. Remember, if you want to be featured on the show today, send in a super chat. You got 24 minutes until the deadline. That means better hustle. Better hustle up. 24 minutes if you want to get in on the show. 24 minutes if you want to get in on the show. That's awesome. Fantastic. You want to skip the line? Because we got a lot of people hanging out with us right now. 350 of you, by the way. I'm not going to be able to get to every question. I want to, but I can't. So send in a super today, just like Trigger, just like Banana, JC, Xander. Those were all people who sent in some supers. We were able to get them up on the screen, let them be a part of today's show. As we look through, yes, Luke, Torrey Horton is still going to play. YYC guy, right guard is critical. Could not agree more. Hey, Greg, respectfully, sup? Good to see you. Chad, good to see you. How you doing? Hope everything's going well over there in WA. Yes, I need Schneider to focus. You got 23 minutes left. Can you pull off a move for that edge rusher or for that guard spot? Can you pull off a move? Can you do something special? Now, someone that Seattle had targeted, someone that Seattle had looked at that edge spot was Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson was someone that you had looked at, you had talked about, you had wanted. Seattle does not look like they're going to make a move for him because the Jets are overvaluing him. They want a 2nd rounder for edge Jermaine Johnson. I don't know that that's going to happen. I don't know that that will end up going through. I don't know that I want to give up. I don't know that I want to give up that. Producer Sam just let me know that Garrett Wilson is not available. I think that's bad for my fantasy football team because I have him. So here's Jermaine Johnson. Obviously not the greatest output this year. What I would say with him, when you have a special player, a freak, a guy who's 6'5", 262 like that, in this system, I think you see them excel. Look at DeMarcus Lawrence. He was a guy that you thought of as kind of his better years were behind him, and Mike Macdonald has turned him back into being one of the premier players in that edge spot in Seattle. I've been very impressed with what he's been able to do. So, unfortunately, it doesn't look like you're going to be able to get Jermaine Johnson, but that's okay. I still think that there's some other guys available. Question about Sweat. I don't know that Montez Sweat is someone I don't know if that is someone that you're going to be able to make a move for and go and get. Paul, if Seattle wants to win a playoff game, they need O-line help. I agree. OR, yes. 4th and a 5th, also a lot. Agreed. The asking price was a 3rd. And if Shaheed moves on, it sounds like you're going to get a 4th round back. So, yes, a lot, not as much. And I still think he adds a lot to your team. Pop, what's up? Okay, Ringworm Sherm. Ew. Ringworm Sherm asks, do we need someone to help with Ernest Jones being out? Is Knight and Thomas enough? I think that if they're not going to make a move for that middle linebacker position, that tells me that Knight and Thomas are going to be enough, but I also don't believe that Ernest Jones is going to be out for all that long. When you look at the way that he was acting on the sidelines, when you listen to what Mike Macdonald has said, I think that it's been pretty clear. Ernest Jones' injury, he might miss a game, he might miss 2, maybe 3. I don't think that he's going to miss an extended period of time for your Seattle Seahawks. And I think that's important. I think that is important. John Schneider is a very crafty guy. I wouldn't doubt if he pulls the trigger at the last second. Kind of hoping that, man, because right now we're in nut cutting time. I told you that already. This is nut cutting time. You got 20 minutes. And then this is your roster. 20 minutes, and then this is your roster. All right, this is coming in on ESPN. Not a trade, but kind of more of a breakdown of the Sauce Gardner trade. It says, Sauce Gardner was stunned by the trade per his brother and agent, Alante Gardner, who told me he learned of the deal around 12:15 in a call from the Jets. They had no inkling before that. He said Sauce has no negative feelings towards the Jets. He understands it's just a business. Just a business. I agree, Bradley. Need a guard. Need a right guard. Here's my thing with Sam Cosmi. Say his name wrong all the time. Cosmi. Thank you. Sure. Here's my thing with Sam Cosmi. And I'm going to pull up his PFFs right now. A little live Will Ortner talking it through as you get a little look behind the curtain, kind of see how I grade and how I go about making decisions. When I talk about players that I might want. Right now, you're seeing it's not been a very full season for Sam. I would say that as you go through, he's played in the last 3 games. He's done really well in his pass pro. His run blocking has basically been the same, a little higher than average. He's a guy that isn't all that old. Drafted in 2021. And he's been fairly productive. He is someone that if they were willing to move on from him in Washington, I'd certainly listen. He's someone that I'd certainly want the Seahawks to inquire about. I don't know if that there is a trade there. I know you can continue to work and try and get him, but it just seems like it's a lot. Okay, so here's a point I want to talk about. People forget we won a Super Bowl with J.R. Sweezy at guard. If Bradford is the worst we have to complain about, we will be fine. I disagree. So, in my eyes, this is what you're doing, and this may or may not be applicable in my life. This is like saying, hey, I have a door to my front house. It's the front door to my house. And it's there. And it's serviceable. And it works. But it doesn't lock. And sometimes when you try to close the door doesn't close. It's fine, though. If that's the worst problem I have with my house, I'm fine. My front door doesn't lock, and it doesn't always shut. You have to really make sure you slam it in there to shut it. Yeah, it's a serviceable door for a day or two, but if a robber walks by and sees you every day slamming the door to get it shut, the robber's just going to wait until you go to work, and he's going to come in and take all your stuff. Anthony Bradford is serviceable, sure. But what Anthony Bradford's doing right now kills you is in the run game. He's not getting to those outside reaches. And so you're not able to have a clear and effective run game. Your offense looks great because Sam Darnold is playing out of his mind, and you have the best wide receiver in the NFL. But this offense is supposed to be built on the run first. So imagine what this offense would look like if you had a run game. Imagine what this offense would look like if you didn't only run it left. You could run it right. You can look at the PFF grades right now for Bradford. Yeah, you're right. They're fine. They're not great. They're really not good. He's at the bottom tier of PFF. He's a bottom tier guard in the NFL. But again, most importantly, if you can improve and add this run game into this offense with how good it's looked, imagine the heights you could reach. Imagine the heights that you can reach. So, is it the end of the world if Anthony Bradford is your guard? No, not necessarily, but a mistake will happen. A problem will occur. Something will go wrong for you. So yeah, I'd like a trade to happen. Because otherwise, I don't know how you're fixing it. You better buy a lot of frickin' duct tape. Close that door. Better buy a lot of frickin' duct tape. Agreed. Bradford isn't ideal. I agree. Might have gotten a little excited there. I don't know what Luke is, Chad. I don't know what Luke is. Ooh, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel. We really appreciate it. That's right. We're 500 away from 75K. It'd be a big deal for the channel. That would be... That's right. Yes. If you guys are Chat Sports aficionados, you know that we just hit, two different channels just hit 100K subscribers. Pittsburgh Steelers channel. Shout out to Sperry and Xavier. Great job over there by those boys. And then shout out over to Warriors, to Tyler Smith and his crew, which is him. And they just got to 100K. Then our Giants channel is about to get to 100K as well. So when you get to 100K, you get a plaque and you get a jersey up here at Chat Sports. So I cannot freaking wait for Seahawks today to get there. And I think that we can get there potentially by the end of the season, right? Seahawks go on a run. We go on a run. And remember, whenever there's breaking news for your Seahawks, we're going to get videos out to you ASAP. Today, as soon as the trade news broke surrounding Rasheed Shaheed, we got that information out to you ASAP. We're fast on it. Roman, Will, do you think Josh Jobe will have a long-term injury or game-by-game injury thing? I believe his issue is concussion. I believe that's his injury issue. What really matters there with that type of injury is when do you pass the protocol? It just takes extra time. It's not like, let's be honest about this. In most injury situations, you lie. If you are a player, you frickin' lie. Look, you can look at my hands right now. Right, look at my hands. Do you notice how there's something wrong with my thumb on this hand? Do you notice how this thumb is smaller than this thumb? You notice that? So producer Avery's going to pull me up full screen. You can really notice it. Look at my thumb. One thumb goes all the way down, and the other one doesn't. It's because I broke this thumb. But what I did when I broke the thumb is I taped it up nice and tight, and I went out there and I played. That's what athletes do. Julian Love keeps getting hurt because he keeps saying, no, I'm ready to go. Tape up my hamstring, wrap it up, and I'm going to go make a play. I'm going to go make a move. And I love that. He should be doing that. He should want to do that. With a concussion, you can't do that because there are injuries that you can play through. I can play through a broken thumb. Who cares? You don't need opposable thumbs. You can still figure it out. Life's a lot harder, but you can figure it out. Devin Witherspoon, his knee was bugging him. I'm going to go play through it. And he tried to play through it. You can't do that with a concussion. It just isn't safe. It's not good for you. So, don't be shocked. Don't be shocked. You've never broken a bone in your body. Really? You can if you'd like to. I would. You don't have to get nervous. Ooh, shout out Lax. I cannot believe you never broke a bone. I think they're trying to troll me. Pop, I've answered Luke so many times. Luke, he's going to get the same amount of playing time that he always has. I think they're trying to troll me right now in the chat. I want them to not be, but I think they are. I think they're trolling me in the chat. Anna's? I'm pretty sure the chat's trolling. I want it to happen. If it did happen, I'd lose my ever-loving you-know-what in mind. But I think I'm getting trolled. And that's such a bummer. It's such a bummer. All right, so we got what? 10 minutes? 10 minutes left to go. Seahawks made a trade for Rasheed Shaheed. You now have the Legion of Zoom, which is fantastic. Will there be a final move? Will there be a final move? I don't know. Producer Avery just asked me if I think there will be a final move. I don't have any high hopes at this point. It is, well, they go till 4. Yeah, it's the trade deadline ends all at the same time. You're okay. You're okay. So here's a good point from Brady Henderson. He covers the Seahawks for ESPN, does a great job. When it comes to extending players, the Seahawks don't typically extend trade acquisitions right away. They've been okay with the risk of giving up picks for players on expiring contracts. Shaheed follows in the footsteps of Leonard Williams and Ernest Jones. Guess what? Leonard Williams and Ernest Jones, you brought them back after they stayed in your system, played for you, and saw what it's like to be a Seahawk. Trust that the same thing will happen for Rasheed Shaheed. Trust that the same thing will happen for Rasheed Shaheed. So Ben's thinking that maybe there will be a move made. Peyton, don't say random stuff, please. Says that maybe there will be some moves, maybe there will be some action. This just coming from ESPN's Adam Schefter. Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown has not and will not be traded by today's deadline. No A.J. Brown trade coming. So we are in the final 8 minutes or so of the trade deadline show. You better get your questions in now if you'd want them up on the show. Remember, if you want to be seen on the show, you can send in a super chat. We'll get you up and seen. But we'll be wrapping this up if the Seahawks don't make a move here right in about 7 minutes. So you better hustle up if you want to get that through and get that in. I want a guard. I want a D lineman. But I don't know that Seattle is going to make that move. It just seems like you kind of know where the Seahawks are at this point. And your big blockbuster was you made the trade for Rasheed Shaheed. The need for speed, Rasheed Shaheed. Only for tackles? That's okay. Let's see the O-lineman. Do you want to throw up the O-lineman, please? That works perfect. Awesome. I appreciate it. So, producer Avery's going to throw up some of the potential trade targets that are out there for the offensive line and for the Seahawks that they could potentially go and make a move for. Now, what I think you are going to see. Sorry, I just read a comment. That guy's an idiot. So here are the potential trade targets that were out there. Ethan Posick, a guy who'd been in Seattle. No, I don't want him. Cesar Ruiz, a guy who's been in New Orleans. Didn't want him. I did want Wyatt Teller. I did want Jackson Powers-Johnson. I did potentially could be talked into Kevin Zeitler. I think at this point right now, barring a late last minute, turn it in at the deadline, the Seahawks are not going to make a move on any of these guys. I think that is a bad decision. I think especially Wyatt Teller and Jackson Powers-Johnson, they could have improved your team not just in the short term, but in the long term. Clearly, to me, Seattle didn't have enough capital to trade for them, or in the case of Wyatt Teller, maybe just didn't want a chance to ruin the locker room, didn't want to risk it, didn't want to make that move. And so right now you're seeing the Seahawks not make a trade. It does look like you're going to stick with just your wide receiver, Rasheed Shaheed. Peyton, could not agree with you more. If we trade for Ethan Posick, I'd be sick. I would be so sick. It is funny. I can hear some of our other channels that are doing their videos right now, and I think our Patriots channel is now turned into a Red Sox channel because I heard something about Story. I heard something about Trevor Story. Let's see. Akshay, what'd you send me, buddy? Rumors that the Seahawks were throwing a lot of money for Max Crosby. It's been clear Seattle has really wanted Max Crosby. They tried to get a trade going for him, and that's actually what ended up leading to Geno being moved on from. Perfect. Yeah. That led to Geno being moved on from. So, sounds like Seattle had a trade. They were out there. They wanted something, but we'll see. We'll see. Ian, what's going on, man? Yeah, Adrock, I don't think it's happening. I think that you are going to see this be the only move that the Seahawks make. Because right now we're 4 minutes from the deadline. Good to see you, Ian. And at this point, we got to talk about our favorite trade. So go down below in the comments. Send me your favorite trade so far that's happened. It doesn't have to be at the trade deadline. It could be at any point this NFL season, because once we hit that 3 minutes, there will no longer be a trade possibility for your Seahawks until the new season. Trigger likes the Logan Wilson trade. I don't hate that. How do I feel about Max Crosby? I want Max Crosby bad. Your defensive line would go from the best defensive line in the NFL right now, or I guess maybe number 2 behind the Texans. You would go from the best or number 2 to now we're talking about you with the all-time great defenses because of how well that D-line would play. Max Crosby would add into your pass rush. He would add into your run-stopping ability. He just opens up everything else for so many more people. I mean, imagine how good Leonard Williams would be playing opposite Max Crosby or Uchenna Nwosu or DeMarcus Lawrence or insert player here that would fit into that scheme, into that system. He's a guy who never comes off the field, too. So you just continue to have those hockey line changes just running out star after star after star. All these good players. I mean, oh my goodness. Teams would be scared. Teams would be so scared. I don't think Crosby's going to happen, though. Like I said, you're 2 minutes from the deadline. I think they've all been done. We're going to stay on until we're completely off. Slat, you said I'm very disappointed. Why are you disappointed, man? I'm dissatisfied and unsatisfied are wrong, because I do like that Rasheed Shaheed is a Seahawk. I think I want a little bit more. Maybe it's a full situation. Like, you know, when you go to a fancy restaurant and you order like a steak and then they come out with like, it's a good steak, but it's small. And like you eat the steak and you're like, wow, that's really good food. But I'm still hungry. Yeah, producer Avery said she just paid $100 for steak. Didn't even bring me some. That's ridiculous. But what I'm saying here, though, is sometimes you get to a position where, and I think the Seahawks are this way. Yes, you are excited. Yes, you're happy with Rasheed Shaheed, but I think you definitely wanted a little bit more. I think you wanted just a little bit more. Right now, 1 minute. 1 minute to go. Well. Oh, poor Ricky. Tried. Ricky Scoops. R.I.P. R.I.P. Ricky going back to doggy heaven. Classic. Alper is going nuts. Thoughts on Christian Haynes? Disappointing. Those are my thoughts. Disappointing. He's not going to pass Anthony Bradford. Anthony Bradford beat him out before he got hurt. You're stuck with what you're stuck with. Just kind of is. Just kind of is what it is. Crazy. 20 seconds. Come on, John. What you going to do, man? Do me one more. Pause. One more trade. One more move. Come on, John. Come on, John. Ooh. And just like that, it is 3 o'clock, and the NFL trade deadline is done. Wow! Deadline deal! Trevor Penning to the Chargers. Now, that was someone that Seattle could have potentially looked into as a guard. Wow. Wow, oh, wow. Deadline deal. A deadline deal. Trevor Penning to the Chargers. Did not see that one coming. Did not see that one coming. I agree. Military, I agree with you, man. I wanted one more. Trade. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to throw up the trade graphic one more time so that way everyone can see what the Seahawks gave up for Rasheed Shaheed, your newest Seattle Seahawk wide receiver. Here it is. So the Seahawks traded away the 2026 4th-round pick and your 2026 5th-round pick for Rasheed Shaheed. Personally, I'd give it a B, maybe a low B+. It's a good trade. It's a sneaky, great signing, and I think it's going to do a lot for your offense. But I do want to say this. I do wish Seattle would have went and made a move for an offensive lineman or for an edge rusher. But unfortunately, doesn't look like they are going to do that. So there's your trade. Seahawks new wide receiver at the deadline, Rasheed Shaheed. The need for speed, Rasheed Shaheed. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you to producer Avery for running around, scrambling, helping me get up and get live. Thank you to everyone who helped in the production side as well. It was a great show. And make sure that you're back on Thursday. We'll be live. Don't miss any of the videos that I'm releasing at any point throughout that time period. And the best way not to miss it is to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Till next time, I'll see y'all later.